Hello everyone, Lurgs here, and today it's the Fiat 500. The fuse box locations and how to test the fuses on the Fiat 500. If you've got an electronic device on your Fiat 500 that's stopped working, such as the windscreen washer jets, it could be a simple thing that just a fuse has blown, so it's definitely worth checking the fuses first. And this is a 2020 model and there's actually two fuse box locations. Right, let's get cracking. Go to the passenger side of the Fiat 500, open the glove box. Empty the glove box if you've got any stuff in there, and you've just got this small panel here. Now what you have to do is you have to pull that lever downwards whilst pulling it out towards you. Now I'm just going to show this in real time because it's not as easy as it looks. If you can get two hands on this, it is a lot easier. So what you're doing is you're pulling down on that lever whilst also pulling out the panel. Now unfortunately on this Fiat 500 there are these horrible micro mini fuses, and in this particular model we haven't got a fuse removal tool either. So trying to remove one of these without dropping it is really difficult. If you've got a fuse removal tool you can use that, or you can use a pair of long nose pliers, and I'll show you that when we go to the next fuse box location. Now if you want to know what each of those does, I suggest you look on some Fiat 500 forums. And you can just see here how small these fuses are and how difficult they are to access, just judging by the size of my hand. Let's just put the panel back on. What we'll do now is check the location of the second fuse box, which is in the engine bay, and we'll check one of the fuses. The first thing that you'll need to do is open the bonnet or the hood, and there's a link above now about how to do that. And the engine fuse box location is just over here on the right hand side next to the battery. Take a flat bladed screwdriver, push down on this small screw, turn it anti-clockwise, that spring then pops up. That allows you to then slide the cover upwards. You've got a fuse diagram on the front of that cover. You should be able to find out what the fuses are if you check any Fiat 500 forums on the web. And in here you've got lots of fuses and relays. Now again, these are pretty small. You've got these horrible mini micro fuses. That's my thumb there. So you can see how tiny they are. But you've also got some slightly bigger ones, which are much easier to test. And this is the fuse diagram on the cover. Now I've got this car blade fuse tester. This is a really nice bit of kit. You can test a fuse without having to remove it, and it's adjustable so you can test all different sizes. Now what happens is you're testing the circuit. So on this one the light comes on. If the light didn't come on, it means that fuse is blown. You don't have to have the ignition on for this. Unfortunately, it's really hard to test the mini micro fuses with this car blade fuse tester because you can't get the nodes in. I'll just show you how it works indoors. This is a good fuse. So the light comes on because we've got a circuit. Now obviously you can test it at the top without having to remove it. So you're putting those nodes on the top of the fuse. So that fuse is good, so you can basically go around and test all the fuses. The only trouble with this is, with these mini micro fuses, it's really hard to get the fuse tester in there. On the back of this fuse tester, I've got this fuse removal tool, but again, it's really hard to get into there on the micro mini fuses, and there is a danger of dropping those. In a second, I'll just show you an actual fuse removal tool from a different vehicle. And on most cars, you do get a fuse removal tool like this, which makes it a lot easier to remove any micro mini fuses. Now you may have one in your Fiat 500, which will be great, but this particular one doesn't seem to have one. I don't know if it's gone missing or that it just never had one. So you put the fuse removal tool over the mini fuse and then you just pull it out. But again, these mini micro fuses are hard to tell if they've blown. If you haven't got a fuse removal tool, just use a pair of long nosed pliers like this. Now this is a normal size fuse. Now if you want to check it old school, you can just hold it up to the light. This one is good. If it's blown, it will look like this. So you can check them old school, but that does mean that you need to remove every single fuse. Put the fuse back in, gently line it up and then just push it in with your thumb. If you've got a multimeter, you can also test whether a fuse is good or not. I'll put a link above now about how to do that. Then just slide the cover downwards. Then take your flat bladed screwdriver, push down on that screw on the spring and then turn it clockwise just to lock it in. And that fuse cover is now locked into place. Fabulous. I hope you found the blown fuse that you were looking for. I'll put some other useful Fiat 500 videos around the edge of the screen. Drive safe and enjoy your Fiat 500. Lovely little motor. Right, I'm going to drive home and have a lovely cup of tea.